Hello, Facebook, YouTube. The day of Satel, the archangel. God is our prayer. Nope, not Thor. He's a false god. It's not Thor's day. It's the archangel Satel's day. He's responsible of what heaven is all about and not what the wicked system that Thor is all about. All right, topic of the message. Today's the 10th. Interesting. 10 means fulfillment. What's going to happen today? But all right, topic of the message is wow. Shout outs to the church, Resonate Church, great fellowship we had about James. Boy, that guy's so 100. It's crazy. Well, we was on James chapter 4. How straight up James is about. He's just a straight up hardcore, minister. When you read James, it's just powerful. Well, a lot of them are, but James is like. But when you focus on one book, it's unbelievable the way they teach and stuff like that, and what God has revealed to them concerning His word. But this one stuck out. We were talking about the judgment thing. He was talking about judging and stuff and judging the law. But God, when I heard that, I was meditating on that last night. I was like, oh, got an interesting revelation on judgment. You know what I'm saying? And it's awesome. This is wow. A revelation on this idea of judgment or judging people. That God reminded me, of course, about, He taught me that, when people judge other people, people first judge yourself. You first judge yourself before you judge other people. And people don't realize that they do that. But this, revelation is going to explain why is that we judge ourselves first before we judge other people. Now, God taught me about what it means. What Jesus was saying is, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and all thy mind, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. More likely, and we go to Romans 13, talks about that same ideal aspect. But I want to get to this lesson and the idea dynamics of it, because we're going back to the garden on this one. God going to bring you back to the garden. But the topic of this message is quite interesting. I had a topic, but when I started, really God revealing me to the idea of this pattern of judgment is, I had to change the name of the topic. But the topic of the message is the reality of the C or C judgment. The C or C judgment. And that C means conviction or condemnation judgment. Yes, we must understand these two words here and this pattern of how humanity and how we end up in operating in the system of sin that really explains a whole lot. And I did a message about the Cain cycle. God reminded me of the message I did concerning the Cain cycle, and I did a teaching one time about the spirit of Cain, because that is very important, that Jude talks about more than in his book Jude. Now the thing is, I'm finna show you this interesting thing. Now God showed me God taught me about the blame game. I did a message about the blame game. The blame game is what facilitated the idea of sin to really resonate in humanity, that we keep blaming one another, about what wrong happened. Now, but God showed me an interesting in-depth ideal about this situation, based upon Cain. And of course, I did research on, of course, December 25th, and, bring back to Cain, and Cain built an altar in the city on the winter solstice, but that's another message. But watch this idea. Now, of course, we know that Adam and Eve ate from the fruit of the tree, and then God came up to them and they hid in the trees. They hid in the trees. Christmas tree. Leave that alone. They hid in the trees. So they hid in the trees. And now watch this. God asked him, what happened, Adam? And Adam, of course, blamed Eve. And Eve blamed the serpent. Now watch this idea. Now, here's the thing about blaming that we know about the idea of blaming. You can either, and God taught me, you can either be convicted of the wrong thing that you did and say, oops, Lord, sorry, I ate from the fruit of the tree. My mistake. I'm so sorry. I'll take responsibility of my actions. That is a form of conviction within inside yourself that Adam should have did, but he was condemned of the act that he did, eating the fruit from Eve. So he's like, Eve did it. Yeah. And now watch this. It's all about Adam, because I'm going to show you, of course, about Jesus Christ. The Bible says, Paul talks about it in 1 Corinthians 15, talking about being the second Adam that took the responsibility of sin and took the punishment of sin that became the salvation of humanity. But I'm going, talking about this pattern right here about what Adam condemned himself. Now, who did Adam and Eve begot a child named Cain? Now, here's the thing what Satan knows. Satan knows about first fruits. Satan knows about the first. And he knows if he wants to, in order for him to come against God and to get revenge on God concerning kicking him out of heaven for his rebelliousness, he has to get the first fruit or the first seed or the first promise to initiate his plan concerning, the destruction of humanity, pretty much. The steal, kill, and destroy, confusion, conflict, and chaos. He needs the first seed. So Cain comes out because now Adam and Eve ate sin, and now they begot a son in sin, and the first one was Cain. Now this means that Satan has more like we call has dibs on the influence towards Cain. And then now there's Abel. Abel comes up, out. Now here's the thing. Now we know about the story about the God asked for an offering every 7 years from Cain and Abel. This time Abel brought a holy and acceptable sacrifice. Cain did not bring acceptable sacrifice. Now Cain did not bring acceptable sacrifice. Now Cain is frustrated and angry with himself. And now, watch this. Now what is Cain going to do? Now, a logic person that we were in certain people's Cain conviction, is he going to be, watch this, is he going to be convicted of bringing the wrong sacrifice offering to God, or is he going to condemn himself? You know what I'm saying? Which one is he going to do? Now, of course, we see the pattern of process of his response or his reaction is to kill his brother. We know that he condemned himself, help with the serpent. That God told me a long time ago that what the serpent did is pervert Cain's mind that said, that when God said he did not like his offering, he told Cain, said, no, God doesn't like your offering. God doesn't like you. See, that's what Satan told Cain, that no, God is not, God was displeased of Cain's offering. But Satan twisted and said, no, God's not pleased with your offering. God is unpleased with you. And Cain felt condemned, and with that condemnation that he believed the serpent on that idea, got him to develop the jealousy within inside himself, because he judged himself of the wrong thing he done, to come against his brother. And then he comes against his brother and he kills him. Now, what kind of cycle has that cycle been going on in human history? Oh yes, that cycle is doing the same thing, because we don't realize that we judge ourselves. When something that we judge ourselves and we feel condemned on ourselves and we feel bad, so angry that we will try to hurt others. And that created the ideal cycle of sin that people are embracing. See, the ideal, we're supposed to be like King David. King David sinned and made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? But when he was confronted of his sin, he was convicted in his sin, and he made a better decision afterwards. But when we make the decision, he could have, and like I tell people, David could have had Prophet Nathan arrested. You know what I'm saying? And he felt condemned. He felt bad. You arrest you. And it's the prophet's fault that he sinned. You know what I'm saying? You know how we do that. But the thing is, we're supposed to get conviction in our hearts. And God showed me that humility is only the answer, that we will only get conviction when we understand and operate in humility. But if we operate in pride, there's that evil pride. What's the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life, and we think it's all about me and we're supposed to be this great person, but yet we made a mistake. We get mad at other people. This pride is this system that is keeping us in condemnation. Our pride is going to keep us in condemnation and in unforgiveness. See how that goes? Humility will keep us in conviction that we will be about forgiving one another. And this is the sin cycle of, we need to understand that it's been going on for a long time, that is causing humanity and destroying us, because as a simple thing that we're not learning to be convicted in our hearts, that we will, stop doing the things we do. But that's why we need Jesus, y'all. That's what Jesus went through, what he went through, to give us the ability to operate in forgiveness. See, Jesus got beat, bruised, and on the cross he says, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. That he gives us the power of forgiving one another, that we don't feel condemned. There's no condemnation in Christ Jesus, Romans 8:1. That we need to understand that we're not supposed to operate in condemnation. We're supposed to operate in conviction in life if we truly want to live a better life and live better with other people. But if we keep operating in condemnation, we will live in pride and think we're better than everybody else, and we'll be hurting everybody else, talking bad about everybody else, and thinking everybody else is our enemy. And we're not supposed to think about everybody. We're supposed to love our enemies. Bless those that curse you, but pray for those that spitefully use you. Is the method we're supposed to be to get back to this humility, get back to conviction, to that we can truly shine a light